Hello everybody, today's video is going to be on salmon flashers. I keep a box in my boat full of salmon gear that basically has a bunch of spinners, flashers, some different types of divers, and lures like Brad's baits and quick fish all in there. And then that way when I get out to the river I pretty much have what I need and I don't forget something at home, which you know what happens, that can ruin a day when everybody's catching something on one thing and you left it sitting in your garage. So anyway, without any further ado, this is the first one that I took video of right here, and this is a lure Jensen Dodger. This is really old school. This one is in my boat that I use for kokanee. Now normally what I would use when I'm salmon fishing would be one of these larger ones here, and let me just compare the difference so that way you understand. Now you'll get more action out of the larger flasher. I can think back and I remember fishing with my grandfather maybe more than 30 years ago, and what they used to do is they used to use one of these with an inline weight and mooching rig pulling a whole herring. And I remember doing that in Halem Bay and in a few other places with my grandpa. I was pretty young back then, so I don't remember if we ever caught anything or not, but this was the primary flasher that they used to use, so it had to produce. Next we're going to show you something else that I use, and I use this one also for fishing salmon and for fishing kokanee on the smaller one. The nice thing about this blade here is that you can easily bend it and adjust it. So when I go out, I look at how fast I'm going to go, and the slower I'm going to go, the more I bend it to get the action that I want out of it. And then basically when I'm done, I just straighten it back out and put it away in the package. So the one thing about it is you'll notice that both of these two items have a back and forth action in the video. That gives an action to your bait. Now I like to use something like this, which is a spinner with a hoochie skirt. It simulates a squid, and you can see it going back and forth through the water, so as it pulls one side and then pulls the other, it kind of, in my opinion, does what a squid would do. Also, you can take and put a little bit of scent right here in between the tentacles, if you will, and that will broadcast throughout the water for a few minutes. And I usually use a smelly jelly or something like that, and also I put it on the back of the flash or two to give me a little bit more coverage. But that gets that nice action of jerking back and forth. Here is the next one that you're going to see, and this one is a Gibbs. It basically has a lot more coverage. The bigger spinner will move even more, and if you look in the video, it's kind of obvious. You can see it moving more and getting more jerk than the previous two. But I only have a couple of these on my boat. I don't use them on a regular basis, so I don't have enough experience with this particular one to say exactly how it works. But it has a nice motion, and you can check it out in the video there. Now, the one that I had a few of on my boat this fall and just went on fire, so I had to increase my selection, is the Pro Troll. This one here, you'll see it does the same thing as the other ones with that back and forth motion. And one of the things about these two items that I really like is that the front stays down low and the back comes up off the bottom a little bit. So if you do accidentally tap the bottom, your bait still has a little bit ways to go before it grounds out to the bottom, and I am not a fan of that. Something else I wanted to point out to you is right here, you'll see this little device here from the Pro Troll, and it's called an E-chip. What the website says is it puts off an electrical frequency that mimics bait and entices the fish to bite. I'm not sure how or why or what, but I can tell you that this thing was on fire. One day, this flasher alone hit 6 fish, and that's just the one that I was fishing with. The other flasher, which is the next one up, also did equally well, and we didn't seem to find a rhyme or reason why. Bait selection might have something to do with it, but I don't think that, I think that there's got to be a combination, and that might be exactly what was going on there. So the next one is a Pro Troll with an agitator fin, and you can see the agitator fin there, and basically it just sits out and it gives it a spin. So this thing is coming around like this. One thing that I notice, and you can see it in the video clearly, is it comes around and thumps down. So maybe a little bit of resistance, and then once it gets over the top, then it just kind of thumps down, and that will give your bait that same action. So it'll go around and then thump, around and thump, and then basically you have a different action on your bait than just a straight spin. So then when you go back to straight spins comes these next two, and this one here is the one in the video. This is a Shortbus Flasher, and it basically just spins straight up. One thing that I like about this is, besides the fact that they have some of the most unique colors with a lot of UVs and color combinations, is that it spins just a touch slower than the brand that we were using before. It's just barely noticeable, but if I put the two of them next to each other in the water, I can easily see it, and maybe you can notice it on the video too. Then, also, like I was mentioning, is that they have some of the most unique colors, and I can get just about whatever I want, or I can literally just go to the website and order one of my favorite. My favorite is a carbon fiber black in the middle with an orange on the outside, and that is just, I love that one, and I lost the last one I had at Tillamook, so guess who's going to be buying some more? And that happens. The next flasher here is a standard old fish flash. This is what we've been using for years and years. We haven't had any problems with these. It's just that this other one came along and it seems to outbite it. But there is times when these will perform better. Now, when you have a low light situation, I really like to switch over to something like this where it is really bright. When I'm choosing my spinners or flashers, what I usually do is I usually start with the color versus light. So when we look at a low light situation, we want to go with the brightest flasher that we possibly can. So something like this. When we look at a situation where it's really bright out, we'll mix it up and get something with more color in it, like red, or like I was saying, the carbon fiber black, which is my favorite. And then it will kind of, I don't think that with the low light, I don't think it's, the fish, they like that more attractant, and with the low light, they will go more with the things that are brighter and the UV flashes. So also, the next thing when deciding what type of flasher that I'm going to start with, I usually go by the fish activity level. Fish activity level can be affected by a lot of different factors, but usually I find that it's affected by the temperature of the water. So if the fish are a little lethargic, like if it's really cold or if it's really hot, they're just not going to be very active. And so then I want to try to throw a flasher at them that matches their activity level. So the flasher moves less and flashes less, and it makes it look like it's an easier prey to get at. Now if the flasher's moving a lot and it's moving around a lot, the fish might be like either scared, or they might be like, oh, you know, that's going to be too much work. And everybody knows Chinook are notoriously lazy fish. So I think that covers the basics here. And again, if there's any comments or any information that you want to know, if I know it, I'll share it with you. If I don't know it, I will find somebody that does know it. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe.